Hello and welcome back to my channel on SilkPod, reacting to Love is Blind US Season 10, Episode 12, which is the finale before the reunion. Kind of weird that Netflix spread it out this way, so it's only one episode dropped and then the reunion. But anyways, can't believe it is already the end of the season. Before we jump in, I jotted down my predictions prior to watching the episode. Yeah. So I thought I actually did feel like Mike might actually say no to Emma because of the whole kids thing. But at the time I felt it could really go either way. Hopefully he says no. But there was love there, you know. With Jordan and Amber, I felt like it could go either way, but felt like Amber might say no, specifically because of the previous episode conversation about Jordan not communicating about his feelings around meeting her child Emma. Well, other couples, Christine and Vic, I said, of course, they're going to say yes. End of story. And then Ashley will say no to Alex. And I would be shocked otherwise. And of course, Devo will say no to Brittany. Yeah, that was my original predictions before going into this episode. We start with where we left off with Emma and Mike's wedding. Um, yeah, this was pretty short, but I'm not surprised. But I was relieved that Mike did say no. Um, I was worried that Emma was gonna get really emotional and cry. Well, I think she did cry, but become over dramatic. But I was just really glad that it was not a lot of drama. And it was actually really nice seeing the parents on both sides talking amicably and be like, they're both going through things and they'll figure things out and just being overall supportive of the process. The staff does ask Mike later on that if Emma had said she definitely is 100% in on kids, if he would have said yes. And he does say, I think I would have. Think. That word kind of stood out to me. But I guess because he would have doubted if Emma really felt that way or she's just forcing herself to feel that way just to be with him, which I understand. Yeah. Um, Next up, we go to Amber and Jordan's wedding. I predicted that Amber would say no to Jordan, but boy, was I off. Amber talks about how Jordan finally met Emma, her kid, and she did a little magic show for him, which is awesome. Amber does say she's ready to marry Jordan, which I was kind of surprised at. Completely wrong in my prediction. But she fears that Jordan is feeling different things, and especially with the change in lifestyle with the child. And she just wants the day to be a good day for him as well, which was sweet. Jordan, of course, says he didn't sleep well, and throughout the whole thing, I was worried, and his sister was worried too about his facial expressions, showing that he's super anxious, super nervous. I was actually kind of worried for him. Um, but he does say, when talking to family and friends, that Emma was really sweet in person, and she was really pumped to be the flower girl, which is cute. Um, what I did like is when he was talking to his family about the whole issue about relocating to Columbus, and which would possibly mean moving Emma's school, which is not ideal, right? But when he was pushed on, why won't he move to Mount Vernon? And he said that he has always said that it was a non-negotiable for him to move there. But I'm just really glad that his family was suggesting strongly about maybe finding a place in the middle, and that he really needs to learn about compromise in relationships. Which was cool that his family said that. Yeah. Let's see what else I wrote down. I noticed that Amber's brother, before walking down the aisle, that Jordan might want more time with the process and he would be shocked if he said yes, which was kind of a bold move on the brother. And I was like, oh, how does he actually feel about all this? But Amber did say that she will understand Jordan's choice either way. Um, yeah. It was nice. We see Amber's cute kid at the altar throwing the flowers. Um, Amber unsurprisingly says, I do. But she also says, I understand if you don't say yes. And then she has a lot going on, which is, really mature of her to say. I noticed that Netflix probably edited out most of Jordan's vows, which is fine. Um, because I was like, boy, he did not say much. But at the end, Jordan says he will follow his heart and say yes. Which was a surprise for me, surprise for Amber, and of course a surprise for Amber's brother. My prediction was completely off, but you know what? They might just work out. And wish them all the best. All right. Oh, next up we have Brittany and Devo. Not the couch. I was like, no, not this again. They're not even gonna go have the wedding or go to the altar. They're cutting it. But you know what? That's actually better for Brittany's sake. This was hard to watch because the whole time Brittany is going on and on about how she can't believe today would not be her wedding day and her family was all here to celebrate, which I definitely feel for. And everything she wanted was not happening. I honestly couldn't care less what came out of Devo's mouth, but he says he just had all these doubts. I didn't pay attention to what doubts he had. He just couldn't do it. Um, what was concerning, and I really hope it was just for the cameras, but Britt kept saying that this was just a slight pause. She believes that Devo will eventually marry her and that she's 99% sure he is the one. I don't know where all of this is coming from because I thought Devo wasn't even Britney's typical type. So I don't know what's going on. Is it because Devo has money? Is it because, but I don't think he actually does. Calling back to the financial episode, whatever. Yeah, Devo was definitely not having it. Um, what I found weird was when he was telling the camera crew, like the camera, that it threw him off that she had a pre-bought dress. I mean, I guess. I mean, why is that the thing that throws you off? Among every of everything in the relationship he could be complaining about, it's about the fact that she pre-bought her wedding. Okay, whatever. I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, I thought it was weird too, but okay, Devo, whatever. Um, yeah, a little worried about Brit, but she did like say like on camera too that she has some fears about that Diva was just going through the motions, which he was, and it was weird not meeting his mom. Like, why didn't she speak on that more and lean into those concerns? Because those were real things. And of course, the fact that Diva does not love her. But yeah, we'll just move on because this was a nothing couple. We go to Ashley and Alex's wedding, and the whole time I'm like crossing my fingers. Please don't say yes, because oh god, uh, I just can't with them. Especially with Ashley opening up with like loving his confidence and choosing her in the pods, and she mentioned that their differences or something would make him such a good husband or father, and I'm thinking, oh please don't say yes, girl, please do not say yes the whole time, right? I did not pay attention to Alex talking about how great Ashley is and checking all his boxes because I don't believe a single word he says, and I'm kind of done with his voice in general. The only thing that stood out was his mom coming in with that sparkling dress. That that was a red flag for me because I was like, oh, she's one of those. I cannot. Um, so I was passively watching their wedding until Ashley says that there were so many conversations about how she's not his type. I'm assuming not just on camera, but also off camera, which is really messed up. And that she would be shocked if Alex says yes. And she says it's still her wedding day and it's all gonna be about what she wants and how she feels, which is great. I was hoping that it's not a case of like she's gonna say yes even if she knows that he's gonna say no, but I'm really glad that's not what happened. But yeah, that threw me off. I was like, oh, this is an interesting move Ashley is doing here. Um, Ashley is obviously walked down the aisle by her dad, and Alex shakes his hand. Um, and initially, I was surprised Netflix had Alex start first. Um, but I I was very surprised in a good way when Ashley cut him off and said, "I know you don't choose me, and I don't choose you." And I was like, "Oh, so this is the direction we're going in." I love this. I know in a different season, I think it was Zanab or something, was going off on her partner, but I felt like that was like rough to watch. But I loved what Ashley was doing here because she was going in on him, but she maintained that respectful like posture and everything. I loved it, and plus Alex is a piece of shit in this case, so he deserved everything that was being thrown at him. Let me see what I wrote down. She went on to express that everything was really off after the pods, and how confused he was at the end of each conversation. Me too, me too. And that lies are non-negotiable for her, as it should be. She talks about how a year ago she would have ignored all the red flags, let him walk all over her, but she grew through the process, and she knows she deserves better, and that she hopes that he has grown through the process too. And he says that he does, and of course he responds with his whole spiel, and I'm like, at shut up, Alex. And he says that he's respectfully responding, but yeah, sure, dude. Because the moment he was like, "Oh, but I disagree about missing the mark on not having integrity," I had the same exact facial expression as Ashley's dad. Like, dude, just take a little bit of accountability, just a little bit of accountability. Um, and yeah, at this point, I was really annoyed with his mom too. Like, she was upset. Like, she was like, "How dare!" Like that facial expression. I cannot with moms like that. It's like, I'm sure you love your son to death, but like he has serious flaws, and that you can't be coddling him as a grown ass adult. Um, Alex later on tells his friends and his mom that there are no hard feelings and that he's still a great person. Blah 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 blah. Um, and Ashley, power move on her. She rightfully says she doesn't care what others think. I don't give a fuck. Well, she doesn't say that, but she's definitely thinking it. It is her day. And she says that Alex wanted something other than a wife from the show. And you know what? I kind of agree with that sentiment. Yeah. Yeah. That was fun to watch. That was fun to watch, even though, um, yeah, not what I expected. Oh, I did predict she was going to say no, but not in this way. So that was nice. That was nice. We end the episode, of course, with Christine and Vic. Mm. Christine goes on about how perfect Vic is and how he tells her she is good enough, even when she doesn't feel that way. I just love it when they talk. It's just so sweet and wholesome. She mentioned that the pods, he wrote her, "No, I can't see you, but I see you." Kind of corny, but you know what? I love them for it. Vic's sister and Vic's mom appears. And there was like a split second where I was worried because Netflix had those misleading previews as always, just to stir up some drama. About like how they're meeting her for the very first time in the wedding, which is crazy, right? And it the previews were a little believable to me because I was like, yeah, I would feel some type of way too in that position. But they were so supportive. They were so supportive. I guess the sister spoke to Christine before on the phone or something and instantly loved her. And was actually marrying them, right? Being that person that uh I don't know what they're called. Pastor? I don't know. That's not the word. You know what I mean. Um, but yeah, that was so sweet. And the mom was saying how she was nervous at first about meeting Christine for the first time, but she loved her, and everyone loved each other at this wedding. So it was really, really sweet. Um, we quickly turn to Vic talking about how there's beauty in their imperfections. And has this overall touching conversation with his sister and mom, jokes around with his friends, and it's just all cute and wholesome. And of course touching upon how he was giving his mom a hard time growing up as a kid, but you know that's part of being a child growing up, and you know all that stuff. Of course they both say yes at the altar. They give really heartwarming vows. Everyone's obviously crying and loves it, and you know I felt like I was sitting in a real wedding. It was nice. It was nice. Um, that would have been the perfect way to end the episode, but of course Netflix wanted to fill the rest of the time asking everyone that didn't say yes if they believe love is still blind. And of course little clips, sorry, about the two weddings. Is the messy reunions next week? I forgot what it was. I try not to look at the previews because I don't want to be spoiled, but I have heard on social media, I guess someone who like already sat in the reunion or something saying how crazy it is. So I'm really, really, really psyched for that. But anyways, that was all for today. Thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you at the reunion.